You want to do some math?
Yeah.
All right, come on over. Let's see, what should we do?
I don't know.
You want to do some factoring?
Yeah.
I think we should do some factoring, but more complicated. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
So how about if I give you x cubed minus x squared, and then let's say minus 4x plus 4. And then let's divide that by x squared minus 4. And let's find where that equals 0. Think we can do it?
X is 1.
X is 1? You think that's when...
1 cubed is 1. Minus 1 is 0. Minus 4 is negative 4. Plus 4 is 0.
You got it on your guess. Okay, how many solutions are there?
Plus or minus 1.
Is it plus or minus 1? What makes you say that?
I did algebra.
I think you just think that oftentimes it's plus or minus 1. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's not minus 1. 1 is a solution, but is that the only solution?
Mm-mm.
So let's do this out. Let's factor it so we can find out what the answer is, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's factor. How about we factor the top and we'll factor the bottom? Okay? So how do we factor this top? How do you factor the top?
Easy. Double bubble. No, wait.
Why can't we do the double bubble?
Because it has 4 terms.
Yeah, and it's cubic. So how do we do this? How do you factor cubics?
Have to do fourth way.
Okay, what's the fourth way?
Grouping.
Grouping. How do I do grouping?
Group together that.
Okay.
Group together that.
Sounds
do
good.
it separate. You can do it any way you want.
Okay, tell me what to write.
X squared.
See?
X plus 1.
Plus 1?
Minus
Why is it minus 1?
1.
Because this is a minus, yep. And it's a 1 because we pulled out a full x squared. Okay. What next?
Four.
Okay, plus 4?
Plus
Plus 4? Are you sure?
minus.
Why is it a minus 4? Yeah. If this is negative, I recommend you pull it out. It always makes sense.
But you can't.
Well, can you pull a negative out of a positive?
Yeah.
So what happens if I divide a positive by a negative? What is a positive number divided by a negative number?
0.
Really? So like if I take 4 and I pull out negative 4, I'm dividing by negative 4, right? So what is 4 divided by negative 4?
4.
4? Well, we know 4 divided by 4 is what?
1.
So 1 divided by negative 1, right? Well, keep in mind multiplication and division have the same rules for for negatives, right? So what's 1 times negative 1? What would that be?
Negative 1.
Yeah. So what's 1 divided by negative 1?
Negative 1.
It's the same. And so you can pull a negative out of a positive, and it just makes it a negative. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we have left, what do we have left if we pull a negative 4 out?
X and negative 4.
Negative 4? Then we pull a negative 4 out?
Yeah.
So is it a 4? Because we pulled the 4 out.
So 1. Negative 1.
So it's x minus 1. Yep. All right. Now what?
Now. Oh. X minus 1.
What about it?
Put it in parentheses. X squared minus 4 is also
Yeah.
1.
Because we took the the x minus 1 is in both parts, and we factored it out, we're left with x squared minus 4. Can we factor that? Can we factor that? Can we factor x minus 1?
Nope.
Can we have to factor x squared minus 4?
Yes.
How do we factor x squared minus 4?
Hard way.
Okay, so what do we do? So that's x minus 1 times what? Okay, so the hard way is the double bubble, right? So we want two numbers that
Multiply to give you 1.
1?
No, 0. And add to give you 4. Negative.
So think of it like this, remember? X squared minus 4. I just add in 0x, right? So if you look at this one, what are we looking for? Two numbers that.
Multiply to give you negative 4 and add to give you 0.
So that is.
Obviously, one of them is negative. One of both of them.
So one of them's negative, right? Because it's negative. And because they had to give you 0, they have to be the same number.
So 2 and 2.
2 and 2. Well, 2 and negative 2, right? So it's x minus 2 and x plus 2, right? Okay. So now let's look at the bottom. I bet you can factor the bottom really easily now.
X minus 2 and x plus 2.
Yeah. So this whole thing is x minus 1 times x minus 2 times x plus 2 all over x minus 2 and x plus 2, right?
All we have left is x minus 1.
Well, remember, what we want to do is say, when is this 0, right?
1 is a solution.
1 is, at x equals 1, that is a solution. Are there any others?
Let's try negative 1.
Well, why would you guess at this point? We've got it all factored out. That's why we factor, so we
1
don't have to
minus
guess.
1 is 0. So who cares about that?
Yep. So if x is 1, we're good. If x is negative 1, we know that's not 0. That's not 0. That's not 0. The only way it can be 0 is if one of the factors is 0, right? So negative 1 isn't going to work.
It can also be...
Is there another
2?
solution? Okay, let's look at 2. If x equals 2, is that a solution?
Yep, that one's not 0, but that is.
Okay, so the top, if x is 2, this is 0. So who cares the rest? The whole top is 0. What happens if x is 2 on the bottom?
0. So 0 over 0.
Is that 0?
No.
0 divided by 0 is not 0, right?
Yeah.
So x equals 2 is not a solution, right? Are there any other solutions?
Maybe negative 2.
Maybe negative 2. What do we get if we have negative 2?
That's 0.
Okay, so the whole top is 0. What's the bottom?
0 over 0.
Yeah. So negative 2 is not a solution either. So this cubic tells us that there are 3 possible ways that this could be 0. Right? Because it's a cubic. There's 3 answers. But before we have to do factoring on both top and bottom so that we can tell which ones are really zeros and which ones are undefined. Right?
Yeah.
One thing you could do is before we plug it in, we could do what you, I think, wanted to do, is say, right? And what else would you do? Yep. So really, we just have x minus 1 equals 0. Is this the same as this? These two equations are equal? For all x?
Yeah.
So what is this if x equals 2?
2 minus 1 is 1.
Yeah. What's this if x equals 2? Undefined, right?
Yeah.
So these two are not the same if x equals 2 or negative 2. But any other x, this and this are the same, right?
Like
And
20.
so, yep. And so since we're looking for where it's 0, well, as long as we don't get an answer of 2 or negative 2, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So where this equals 0 is the same as where this equals 0.
1.
So 1 is the one and only solution.
If you liked this video, comment, like, and subscribe. Remember, math can be easy.